Melodic minor is a very important scale or sound when it comes to jazz, and especially modern jazz. In this video I'm going to go over some examples of how you can use melodic minor over a minor chord, so like a tonic minor chord. And that's a great place to start if you want to get into using this sound, and you can easily adapt the material that I'm covering to other places where you use melodic minor, so stuff like altered scale or Lydian dominance or Lydian augmented sounds. What I'm going to do is that I'm going to go over 5 examples of some lines and talk about how they're constructed, what I'm using in terms of arpeggios, triads, romantic leading notes and other ideas in terms of making the melodies. That's going to give you some material that you can use for yourself. My name is Larsen. If you want to learn more about jazz guitar and use that to make music, then subscribe to my channel. If you want to make sure not to miss anything, then click the little bell notification icon next to the subscribe button. The examples that I'm gonna go over here are all using C melodic minor over a C minor chord. And most of them, I'm not staying in one position all the time, but most of them are around this position and this scale. This first example is also starting here. The first thing I'm doing is that I'm playing an extended C minor major arpeggio. So we have the C minor major, and then I'm adding a ninth. And the start of the lick is first an enclosure, so D and B, that'll take me to the C. Then running up the arpeggio but adding the ninth. So skipping up to the ninth again to the high D, then down to the seventh, the B here. And then I'm moving down the scale from that, so B, A, G, encircling the third, so the third is E flat here, and then I'm playing F and D around that. Then I'm skipping down to play a leading note to the fifth, so that's the F sharp here, and then ending on the major 7, the B, to really get that minor major sound. A big part of what makes a phrase in a solo sound like jazz is the use of arpeggios. That's quite clear from this example where I'm actually using 2 arpeggios to create the first part of the line. This is a combination of 2 arpeggios that are both closely related to the C minor major chord or the C minor 6 chord. The first one is the arpeggio from the third of the chord, so from E flat, and there we have an E flat major 7 sharp 5. And then this is chained together with a C minor major. So we have, and that's already the first half of that line. Then I'm going down to the A, so just down the scale, adding a leading note, and then we get a C minor triad, descending, like this, and then ending the line on the 9th of the chord. If you play a C minor major chord like this one, or like this one, then the top part of that, without the C, is an augmented triad. So that's the augmented triad that's actually found on the 3rd degree of the scale, so an E flat augmented. And that's a really good way to just really spell out the sound of the chord when you're soloing. And that's what I'm doing in this example. So the first part of it is that augmented sound, or augmented triad, and then I'm going into another type of triad that is a little bit overlooked and not used that much, but it's a really great sound, and that's a sus4 triad. In this case I'm using a D sus4 triad, so that's D, G and A, and I'm playing it like D, A, G, A, and that's a really good way to really get that major 6 out on top of the chord. So, and then up to the high D, and from there some chromaticism, and then another descending augmented triad, and then ending on the major 6. The reason that I can keep on publishing videos every week is that there is a community of people over on Patreon that are supporting the channel. I'm very grateful for their support, and it's because of them that I can keep on making all these jazz guitar and music theory videos. If you want to help me keep making videos, then check out my Patreon page, and if you join us over on Patreon, I can also give you something in return for your support. The next 2 examples are really highlighting some of the secret, or at least less obvious, arpeggios that you can find within the scale. The first one is this B7 sharp 5, so this arpeggio, you can also play it here. And if you are checking out C melodic minor and just checking out the usual diatonic arpeggios and diatonic triads, you're not going to come across this one, because on B you would have a B half diminished or a B minor 7 flat 5 arpeggio. But you can construct this arpeggio as well, and it's a really nice sound if you want to really get the tonic minor sound across if you put a C in the base of it. Because you have the major 7, the 3rd, the 5th, and then also the major 6. So all the tonic minor sounds are actually already there with this set of notes. And that's what I'm using in this line. So the first part of that is really just the arpeggio ascending, then skipping down to the 3rd here, then from F a scale one, and I'm skipping down to the A, and then continuing down the scale and ending on the 3rd, the E flat. This example is using two less common arpeggios from the 5th of the chord. So of course in this case that's a G. The first one is a G7 sharp 5, so that's another dominant sharp 5 arpeggio. And then we get a small scale melody. And then we get another arpeggio that's also one that I've used before, but also a little bit less common, which is a sus arpeggio. In this case from a G, so a G sus 4 triad. And that's this melody. Then skipping up to the F, and then just encircling the 3rd and ending on the major 7. If you want to check out some more structures that you can add to your vocabulary when you're using melodic minor, then check out this video where I'm covering a few different things, turning it into exercises, and also showing you how you can use it. One of them is chordal harmony. If this is the first time you see one of my videos and you want to learn more about jazz guitar, then subscribe to my channel. If you want to help me keep making videos, then check out my Patreon page. That's about it for this time. Thank you for watching, and until next time.